Silver, because it's going to be triple silver, and we're going to have somebody 3-star a 3 cost on 4-1, and then recombob into the
Oh,
3-star 4 cost on 4-2. That's
I
that's what it is.
feel like you're thinking too small. Maybe it's a 4 cost 3 star on 4-1
Oh, you're
into a
right.
4-2. Yeah, yeah. 3 star legendary. You gotta dream big, Gingley. You gotta
Hey, I was actually wondering when we were in the stage one of this game if any of the players were going to have an econ opener, and just like that, we have Malala who on Scuttle Puddle has the econ opener and Blood Money chosen as
Ooh.
his augment. So Malala is going to be a very, very rich player. He's also holding on to a potential Heartsteel out with the set and
Yeah.
the Cassante. So it looks like he's actually not willing to sell his bench. Maybe he'll hold on to the Cassante and make 30 if he wins this round.
Because he has a couple of outs too. I think one is going to be the Heartsteel, another is going to be a potential Olaf 3. And if he sells everything besides that Cassante or Olaf, he would only be at 29 gold, so might as well just
Mm.
hold more stuff. We saw how well Olaf can perform earlier when Kyun took a lobby with it. Certainly players are going to have that in the radars if they didn't before, especially it being a pentakill, right? It's harder to get to that 6 bruiser threshold, but I think, do you think the comp can work out with just 4 bruiser and going more vertical pentakill?
I'm not exactly sure. One thing that I took out of watching that Kiyun game was how much he stabilized off of that 6 bruiser spike. As soon
Yeah,
as he
that's fair.
found that Zac, it did feel like he went from losing every fight into winning every fight. So if that is anything that we can take something out of, then maybe 6 bruiser is actually very important. I haven't personally played enough of this Olaf reroll to know for certain, but I have a feeling that 6 bruiser is vital to Olaf's success.
It seems like that might be the case. XP Mods has an Olaf early, but did already push levels level 4. Unlikely that we see that rerolled for an Olaf 3, however. I am curious how that pentakill Olaf can work out being rerolled, but yeah, we might not quite see that, because I think I do agree with you that that 6 bruiser seemed like just a huge power spike, especially in stage 3, stage 4, where there's people that can, get their comps online and burst out that Olaf before he can heal back up. Moving on over to Trick P, however, nothing crazy happened on this board. 2 out of 3 for the Heartsteel, 2 out of 3 for the Disco. Just going to be losing rounds, not quite full open forwarding, right, but still making 30 gold because we are on Scuttle Puddle. Some pretty solid econ. Trick P, one of the players, right? Maybe they can get into day 4 if they get exactly a first place.
Yeah, it looks like two soft open players fighting against each other, Setsuko and Trick P right now. And I imagine that if you're Trick P, you really just want to take a good loss here because Setsuko is the other potential loss streaker. But honestly, I actually think about it more. I think if Trick P really wanted to confirm this loss streak all the way through, they're probably not upgrading that Nami. So maybe they're in a
Yeah.
place where they think it's fine to win loss because you're going to hit those interest thresholds early anyway.
Yep, exactly, right? It's going to not be as much reliance on that streak gold because the system changes, but you're still just going to be okay getting that +1 gold from winning and have your baseline economy with the Scuttle Puddle. Riven on the carousel is interesting if players want to consider that direction, especially, I guess, with a chain vest. You're not usually going to want to go Titans on your Riven, but I guess it's an item that can work out pretty well sometimes. Would really like to see things like a Quicksilver, however. And we've seen a lot of Riven rerolls throughout the day, right? Like we kind of expected a ton of 3 costs between Yone, Riven, Vex, Samira. They're all coming out to play. Even Lulu we saw a couple of times.
Yeah, there's been there's definitely been an abundance of 3 cost reroll, and I imagine that in a portal like Scuttle Puddle, where you have this large influx of gold to allow you to get these interest thresholds right off the bat, and on top of that, we have players like Malala who are taking the additional econ augments, or Lucan who has the Tiny Titans is going to be able to slow roll his gold significantly longer than other players. That we actually may see even more of those rerolls, or I guess it would essentially just be on target with the rest because we're seeing at
Yeah.
least 2 to 3 3 cost rerollers per game. I would expect that we will see at least that for this next one.
Definitely. It's interesting to me to see as Remix Rumble continues to progress, how many players opt to forego an early stage 2 headliner, right? Especially if you're comfortable with like kind of semi-opening, soft opening, as Philip was just trying to do, but the Katarina 2 was a bit too powerful on that regard. Setsuko doing a very similar thing on a 4 loss streak right now and gets offered a country Tom Kent in the shop. A Vex is on the board with a death cap. We could consider country, but there are no smear items. But then it's like, is it just okay to go that direction with Vex being your primary unit that you're carrying?
I feel like Setsuko's in a spot right now where having such a great loss streak, being at only 81 HP, obviously having the econ of Scuttle Puddle and having those early interest thresholds, I feel like Setsuko would be in a good spot to just try and play around level 8 and maybe play around that Karthus board that I believe we've been seeing their study group playing on the day. So it wouldn't shock me to see that rather than looking to spike the board right now. And it looks like Setsuko does take another loss. So I'm assuming, I mean, it sounds like, oh, we actually, sorry, we saw him on the other side of the board. Did not take that Tom catch.
Yep. Lucan having the abundance of HP, of course, from the Tiny Titans. Couple players, 100 HP win streaking though, Malala and XB Mods. Malala is off of the back of that Olaf pentakill, right? Superfan goes in for that Sterix, get the Titans as well. And he just has base lifesteal. Blood Money not actually giving any value to Malala yet, but he doesn't need it. Is actually even going to be able to go to level 6 and still be making 50 gold econ. So absolutely love this, such a dominant spot. And, you know, the top 4 percentage, right, of this game from Lala, just off of 5 streaking, I think goes up a ton. Even with this influx of gold here, he's in such a great spot.
Yeah, and let's mention the fact that he's 5 streaking off of an econ opener, right?
Yeah.
Off the back of having 2 components, one of which he got from Carousel, and it seems like it's mainly because of this NAR 2 that he picked up and has those super fans online early. So all of a sudden, Malala's in a spot where he is just absurdly rich, and Philip is picking up another Katarina too. So it appears to be that Philip is playing some sort of Katarina reroll.
Yeah, I mean, Katarina reroll definitely haven't seen the meta in a very long time, but I would be excited if that can come through. I think there was maybe some rumblings of like Kaisa reroll maybe being a thing. I don't quite know if that's.
I saw some Joe bookmark the other
Yep,
day.
Yep, exactly. It made it look like there was some potential there, but I'm not quite ready to say, okay, it's a good composition quite yet. I'd like to see a bit more of it happen, but players actually have to, you know, commit to that line, which I'm not sure people are going to be willing to do. 3 Heartsteel is online for Dank Memes 01. While they are eliminated from advancing to tomorrow, they still could just have a good, solid game to feel a bit better out to end it off, right? Especially looking forward to maybe the ladder or the next cup, right, with being that Heartsteel Cup.
Yeah, you know, looking at the total qualifier points across 2 cups, I imagine that no one will be able to qualify for regionals without advancing to the final day in both tournaments, but you never know, and you always want to have as many qualifier points as possible. As we see Setsuko pick up that little buddies augment right off the bat, and it does appear like he's probably going to be leaning towards this either Disco TF or Pentakill Akali, both of which can utilize 1 cost and 2 costs very well. The Pentakill Akali board using the Superfan units, and Disco, on the other hand, utilizing the Taric and the Nami. So he actually has quite a bit of flexibility in his level 8 roll down. So curious to see how it pans out for Setsuko, but that looks like a very comfortable spot to me.
Yeah, for sure. Or he can miss everything and be stuck on Ari. And,
it's Ari, yeah, it's an Ari
to the
game.
KDA, like we've seen
this
so
episode.
Much. We have indeed. We don't know we were doing reruns here.
That's right.
No, we're not indeed. Malala is such a dominant position going up against Trickbee, who has found keepers, and that does work pretty well with the Disco style. There is the Nashers and the Adaptive on the Nami in the back line there, but I think that Olaf might be a bit too powerful. Even getting CC'd, nothing can stop this boy from getting into the back line and continuing Malala's dominant run here.
Level 7, 42 gold, 7 win streak. Has the Titans and the Hodge slammed. So, you know, typically I would think that we're looking to play something like the Yone, but I do wonder if because of the influx of gold, we are not considering that and maybe looking to play something around level 8 instead, maybe around the Z. But Malala has to have more money than the majority of players in this game, as we even look at Kiyun, who's level 650 gold, right? So you're talking
Yeah,
about what, an additional 20, 30
about
gold on the
yeah.
side of Malala versus Kiyun, plus whatever the cost of the unit are, because it's not like Kiyun is playing a very expensive board. So it does illustrate how much richer Malala is than some of the other people in this game.
Yeah, it's actually super, super crazy just how much richer he is, and still has that econ augment to fall back into when he does start taking losses, right? It's going to be like a fast 9 for
True.
Malala's position, honestly, if not even, a fast 10. No, probably not fast 10, but at least fast 9 is the potential there. If he doesn't feel pressured to have to roll down on level 8 to try to stabilize. Hyun comfortable with some more losses because he does have that 3 Heartsteel online right now, and this is when you're offered the Heartsteel potential in stage 3. You're probably oftentimes gonna take it, even if you're full win streaking. Setsuko did that just a couple of games ago, right? Was almost like full streaking and started the game. Found Heartsteel, said, all right, I'm just gonna snap my win streak into a full loss streak in stage 3, stage 4, and then try to stabilize off of that, and landed on that kind of Ezreal bruiser flex playstyle that worked out pretty well.
Setsuko finds the TF off that carousel. So I imagine that's going to be the direction Tetsuko wanted to pull the trigger. And I imagine that in that level 8 roll down, he's got a few of the pieces there. I know he had the Tarek on his bench. He's
Yep.
got the TF now. A lot of the pieces in place to make that level 8 roll down much safer than some of the roll downs we've seen previously. TrickP also looking to play around Disco. Level 7 now has the Nami 2 for Disco Online, 6 Tarex.
Okay. Has the anvil, and going disco direction, you want just like some frontline for your Blitzcrank, or Gragas 3, if we can see that again. No, but maybe Mogul's Mail ended up being the choice there, as Tricksters doesn't have a ton of value. Death's Defiance, like maybe if you can slot something else in, but no. Oh, I think I just saw a Samira 3 be hit by someone.
Wait, what?
Unless my eyes deceive me, and I'm giga trolling right now. I swear I saw that.
Well, what we do see right here is Dank Memes with his Heartsteel online, clearly looking to play Yone. So, despite the fact that Malala does have the Titans and the Hodge, maybe you're right. Maybe he will opt instead to play some sort of fast 9 board, maybe play around a melee carry on level 8, level 9, maybe the Zed, like we mentioned earlier, and maybe not contesting Dank Memes here because of how much gold he has.
Yep. Taking a look at Philip in this round, taking a loss, had win streak throughout the rest. Oh, Katarina 3 coming
Oh, it
through.
was Caretaker's ally, Katarina. That makes sense. And
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Philip
yeah.
not looking happy. Actually, I'm not exactly sure.
There is.
Wow, there is in fact
There is
a
Samira
Samira
3.
3.
Okay, I was like, am I going crazy right now? Is that like a 3-5 Samira 3?
What
That's
am I
so
looking
early.
at? How did this
How?
happen?
I don't know. I'm trying to piece together in my brain as well. We
This
saw
is
XP Mod's early game just have that Olaf, and all of a sudden it's a Samira 3. Like, what?
what augment gave you Samira 3 on 3-6?
It's the
This
hidden
is
augment.
seriously. I mean, like we said, XP Mots needs to play for a first or a second to have a chance at an advancement. This is a spot that could potentially net you a first or second. And question really from here is, how much stronger can he get? How much can he cap out the board? He is playing the 4 Executioner version, which, to be clear, is traditionally a lower cap variation of Samira. However, it also does open up the door where if you get an influx of items for your Vex, maybe there's a world where you play around some sort of 6 Executioner board and you use the additional gold from Scuttle Puddle to go level 8, go level 9, use the power of your Samira to try and cap out at a higher level instead of staying 7.
100%. I love that you bring that up, because I think that might be the exact route that he has to go, right? From this super early Samira 3, just going to build that economy, play for that Vex itemize as well, and then try to go that 6 Executioner. I think the data on 6 Executioner is really, really good. So definitely should be at least considered if we're not able to get more of that vertical country online. Lucan, a player that we do have to talk about a little bit here, because they need to go at least 5th place to feel confident, at least 6th place, excuse me, to feel confident about moving into tomorrow. So this roll down is going to be pretty impactful, but also from Tank Memes as well, right? He's going for that Yone 3. Still pretty far off from getting there. 4
Yeah, it
away.
also has the component buffet, which is actually taking up quite a bit of bench space, but gets
Yeah.
his pick of the litter with all these items, allowed him to get the best in slot Yone items, now looking to itemize the Mordekaiser, it seems, and then eventually going to be able to get additional items. I see a Edge of Night for the Zed. Not sure if he has that on the board at the moment, but eventually he will have great items for his Zed. Unfortunately, the Yone will fall to the Samira 3, who is just so powerful for 4-1 in this game.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's crazy. Samalala on the left-hand side there had an Ari too, so the level 8 roll down gave an Ari, as
Of
we
course it
expect,
did.
right?
Yep.
No other AP units actually exist. You have to find an Ari first. As we get to the final augment, no prismatics this game, gangly, but it's okay. Double gold we will take. Setsuko taking Econ augment, actually, wanting to go to level 9 because that's how Disco caps out the best.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tetsuko not really in a spot where where it seems like he's going level 9 anytime soon. He's got a lot of work left to do on this board. 1-star Tarek, 1-star Echo, 1-star Zack, and two 1-star Canes, I believe, on that board as well. So
Yeah.
there's a lot left to be desired on Tetsuko's board, but with balanced budget, he may actually have the amount of gold required to stabilize that board, and then, like you're talking about, be able to go 9 and try and cap out the board from there.
Trick P also contesting that disco line, right? So even with going to 9, you might not ever hit something like a TF2 or Blitzcrank 2. Trick B has the Blitzcrank online as the headliner, and that's very powerful, but maybe not quite enough for the Samira. The Lulu CC does come through, but one more Samira cast, that was close, but XP Mods does claim the round win. And yeah, that was, ooh, okay, that was an
And that
elbow.
is that was a Trickster's Glass Lulu on the board, right? I
Yeah.
believe it was. So you now have this Hyper Pop Lulu, two of them on your board,
Oh, good
feeding
point.
each other and your TF mana. So I think despite the fact that we did only have that TF1, it is so strong because of how much mana is being fed and of how much CC you're actually going to have on your board from this double Lulu.
Oh, Philip going long distance Palace, Katarina, Akali, going more vertical KDA has for Superfan as well for the extra bit of HP and Omnivamp for this Akali. Philip is cooking right now. I love to see this.
So I do know Philip is a known Katarina player. I remember checking his lol chest during the last patch and seeing a ton of Katarina played on his account. So he is cooking. This is not a variation I personally have seen, but I do wonder how much of this actually might be a comfort composition for him.
That's so weird to say, like, oh, Katarina can still be comfort, but no, if Philip has that tech in his back pocket, you might as well use it, right? Especially when offered that option from Caretaker's ally, and Akali is going to do enough to clean it up. XP Mods, his win streak is snapped. The Samira did get dropped super low by the Katarina's cast, but then the Akali just cleaned it up right after. It actually works out super well there.
Tetsuko just picked up Chain 2 from the carousel, by the way. Not
Oh,
bad.
Kane 2. Yeah, we
Just
take
Tetsuko
those.
things, am I right?
Just high, the known high roller. Always.
Known high roller. Otherwise, nothing too spicy apart from Setsuko picking that up. I am very curious to see if this is going to allow him to stabilize. Just kind of taking stock of the lobby, though, right? We said Lucan, one of those players trying to dodge a 6 XP Mott, one of those players that is playing for first. Trick P also playing for first. Right now, we do have Trick B and XP Mott in the top 4. Lucan currently in 6. So the two players who needs first, currently on their way there. We'll see if they can keep up the pace. And Lucan, even if it ends right now, I guess would probably be fine. But I imagine he
Yeah.
probably is not aiming for 6th. I think he'd feel a little better with a little insurance.
Yeah, 6 gets 28 points, which is usually safe, but you know, some crazier things have happened before. Setsuko has, like you mentioned, the Kane 2. It has a TG and, you know, rolls into some okay items. Not the best, but, you know, with that Karthus in the back line with 3 items, I think it's shaping up to be a round win versus Dank Memes. But the Yone is still alive, is healing back up, is going to get CC'd here soon by the Zac. And does it buy enough time for the Karthus cast to come through? How much healing is Yone going to have? And he's going to live for now, Gangly. This is, oh no, the Yone does fall. And Dank
Oh
Memes falls
man.
with him. Not the tournament run that he was expecting. Unfortunately, does fall. But hopefully, we'll see him again in the future.
Does open up the door though for these players who are really looking to secure their spot on the day tomorrow. Lucan takes a loss in that last round, right? And we said needs a sixth here on a 6-loss streak and is slowly bleeding out. And when you are the lowest HP in the lobby, you cannot bleed out anymore. You can't just pray that people are taking worse losses than you. You have to find an edge. So whether or not he wins this next round, I think we're going to see some sort of roll down going into stage 5, where Lucan will be swinging for the fences and trying to turn it around.
And how's Mala still winning? This is a board that's like, surely it takes a loss or two in stage 4, but I guess with that long distance pal is Poppy getting all that additional AP, right? She's just a massive frontliner. Some units have made their way into the back line, but Urgot is not gonna be enough to take out the Ari from Malala.
Goodness.
Poppy, hey, look at this healing from Poppy. That is, what, that, huh? That's disgusting.
This is crazy. Wow, long distance pals Poppy. That's the tech I didn't know, and now I know.
You're a knower. We're all knowers now,
We're
I
all
think.
knowers now. Oh my
Run
goodness.
that on
Yeah.
ladder. Force Ari Poppy on ladder as long as you get long distance pals, plus infinite LP. You've heard it here first.
I mean, Malala is over 80 gold, level 8. I wasn't sure how much XP he's pumped into level 9, but I mean, this is the kind of game where you are at this point expecting Malala to win either by going fast 10 or by staying 9 and rolling for a 3-star Ari, or the variety of other ways that he can cap out his board. But Malala is sitting quite pretty and does not even have his blood money value online yet. Whoa, 2 golden orbs for
Wow.
Setsuko. Huh.
Okay, interesting. Has a spat, has pentakill, but no chain vest from this component Anvil. What does he do with it, right? I don't.
Known low roller.
Yeah, known low roller actually. Setsuko still has a couple more rounds, and he's safe to go advance into day 4. So even if he goes out soon here, not going to be a huge deal. But Lucan on the bubble does not want to go out in 7th, right? All of a sudden, we've lost 7 rounds in a row. If Lucan goes out now, might not be safe.
Wait, he is 66 gold. He is trying to go level 9 next turn, but he is at 15 HP, and if he takes a bad
He's
loss,
risking
could
it.
die, but does have the Karthus 2 and the Zed 2 online, so he believes he's strong enough to not take a bad enough loss. But this Disco board is so strong with the upgraded Lulu, the additional Lulus, and the
Is that
additional
enough?
Hyper Pop. Lucan lives with 1 HP, and if he goes out in 7th, he is in a very, very scary spot, because he will now be on the bubble for what is traditionally the 27-point break point. So definitely want to hang on with Lucan to see if he's going to be able to sneak out a 6th place or if he is doomed.
Hey, he was risking it, right? All that economy is going to be able to level up, go to level 9, and try to improve this board even more, right? Zed hung on for a very long time with all that Omnivamp, especially having that 4 super fan, is going to level up, get the 3 pentacle in there, and that is a huge, huge boost for the Karthus. But the front line, right? That's the thing I'm worried about. Can Karthus actually be allowed enough time to stack this Archangels and be one-shotting units later on into the fights? KDA goes back into the board. 4 Superfan is dropped into 3. But Lucan, one more round, and it's in a very, very tumultuous spot for him.
So the level up, I believe, was for the Echo. Is that correct? Is that what the level up was? Because this feels...
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think it was actually for the
replaced
Kale.
a super fan and a Kale, so both
Yeah,
went
yeah.
in.
Okay, so definitely does have some upgrades for the board. It makes a lot of sense. Question is if it's enough. There's a lot of strength on this board, though. This Zed is quite powerful, and the Karthus is going to punish anyone who is not upgrading their units. On the other hand, Philip, level 9, 50 gold. So we've got quite a few players in this lobby who have yet to reach their cap, and you have to imagine that players like Lucan, even though you're strong right now, are in a spot where you could very easily get outcapped by these players like Malala and Philip, who we know are so rich.
Yeah, Lucan's work is not over, though. He still needs to dodge the 7th place. Setsuko, the next lowest on 20. But again, he's safe. Lucan really needs to hang on just another couple of rounds. Setsuko with the 6 Karthuses, just a Karthus 2 and no items on the bench as well, or on the board, excuse me, as well. But there's no real duo carry here, right? There's just a Viego with 1 guard breaker. I guess there's a Kayn, I suppose, right?
There is the Kayn.
Yeah,
there's the Kayn
that's
2,
fair.
which you're kind of at the mercy of the TG items. But I also do want to call out the 4 Bruiser frontline. This is something that you talked about when we were watching Soju, who was playing flexibly around the Bruiser frontline. These are players who are studying within the same study group, and it seems like they're actually giving a little bit of priority around the flex play with 4 Bruiser. So even though I'm sure Setsuko would have rather played all the units that he wanted perfectly, it is cool to see that their study group has this tech of playing and flexing around the Bruisers, and it seems to be paying off with their scores on the day.
Into the
Emblem.
stage 5 carousel, Pentakill Emblem. A couple players definitely going to be eyeing that to get to that 5 pentakill, right? A couple players that were just on the 3. Lucan grabs a Yorick with an Edge of Night. Philip going towards level 10. Getting in Titans, but how much gold does he have, right? Players like you were talking about haven't reached their caps yet. Meanwhile, Malala is still 100 HP. Just running away with this game.
Really
Crazy.
unbelievable stuff. Now we do see Lucan and TrickP, 2 players where this game does mean a lot for them, both of which are very low on the standings. TrickP at 7 HP, Lucan at 1. But this may be the last fight for one of them, and they might actually even just go up against each other.
Oh yeah, that would spell disaster for one of them. Lucan goes out in 7th, right? That's very, very scary. TrickB needs to climb all the way up to 1st place, though. It has gone to level 9, has that Trickster's Lulu, and is going up against Philip. Meanwhile, it's Lucan versus Setsuko on the right.
Philip still level 9, 50 gold, appears to be sacking to go fast 10, but despite that, very strong board, but TrickP is able to overwhelm the Akali and the Katarina. TrickP stays alive, deals a ton of damage, and on the other side, we see Lucan, who does take out that Karthus, and Lucan is going to be able to stay alive as well. Setsuko goes down to 1 HP.
Oh man, this is so close with everyone who is not named Malala, right? Being 30 HP or lower. Malala's like, you guys fight it out. I'm just chilling up here at the top. Lucan hang on now 3 rounds in a row, and having the Edge of Night now on this Kiana. The Kiana's farmed a lot of a lot of items just for these fights that have him hang on for just a couple moments longer, right? Giving Zed and Karthus that extra time that they need. Setsuko 1 HP, Lucan 1 HP. In a couple fights now, Lucan going up against that disco board.
See Lucan's last stand. Strong disco board with the Sona and the Ziggs online already. That TF has fired once, and that Blitzcrank is still alive in the front line. Lucan looks like is not able to break through it. Not sure. The TF ult comes through again. Karthus is dead. The Zed is alive. The clones attack, and it's not enough. And Lucan goes down in 6th place because Setsuko falls as well. And that is just enough for Lucan to take at least a small breath of relief.
Yeah.
He would currently be sitting at, what is that, 28 points.
Yeah, 28. You feel a lot better, right? Just that 5 HP difference as Setsuko went out in 7th. Perhaps Lucan has made it. We'll have to check in with the standings later, but we still got 5 more players left in this game, Gangly. TrickP, I think, is the one with a lot of pressure on him. If TrickP doesn't get a first, it's not looking good. And when you still see Malala up there at the top with 91 HP, that is such a mountain to have to climb. He's at level 9. Has the disco board, but still needs more upgrades.
And it's not just TrickP looking for this first place spot. XP Mott's at 20 points as well, right? So
true.
You've got actually all these players. I mean, Philip just outside of contention, but if we're saying that maybe 28 could be the tiebreaker, maybe there's a world where 26 is a tiebreaker and Philip makes it in as well. So all 3 of these players are all praying for a first place finish, and they've all tried to reach their cap right now. Philip goes to level 10 on last stand. Jin 2 headliner. Wow, and this is actually quite interesting that he had the Katarina 3-starred without a headliner, which opens him up to buy and sell that headliner as he climbs up the levels. And now with a 3-item headliner Jin, there's a world where Philip might actually just take this game and deny the first from both Trick P and XP Mods.
That was actually a crazy turn by Philip to get this board online, and it is enough to at least win this round. Trickby hangs on as well. But wow, the last stand of this board, like this is a disgusting board. Sure, the long distance pals wasn't great in that round, but didn't even need it to come online quite yet. But that was upgraded Kiana, a Jin on the board, right, and a Yorick too as well. That is so powerful. Meanwhile, XB Mods potentially thinking about a Thresh 3. It looks like.
Oh,
Vex
my
3.
goodness. Sounds like it.
Yeah, the double
Okay.
Thresh goes in. We actually take out 5 country to play 2 Thresh 2s.
That's very interesting. I'm not sure if that is stronger, but heading Thresh 3 definitely would, so maybe there is a world where that is the out. But yeah, it looks like right now up against this 8-bit board, I believe that is Kiyun's.
Yeah.
Let's see, yeah, there
Looks
is...
like it. Oh, and they both go out. Trick P out in 5th, XP Mods in 4th. Both players that needed to play for the first place, they try to risk it, but are just not close enough and don't quite get there. Philip, maybe there's a world where you said if 27 is usually the expected value, maybe there's a world where it's 26. We can still hope for a Philip comeback here because he has a disgustingly strong board. But we get a chance to take a look at Kyun. We haven't seen him in a bit, but he has a Lucian 2 with 8-bit, 3-item Caitlyn, and a Riven 3 online. Okay, this is looking pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the ways to cap out your board without being able to hit that 6-8-bit, right? Having the 2-star Lucian, the items are a little interesting. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, you're definitely spreading the Morellos, that's for sure. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to beat this capped out Philip board. The Lucian goes down, the Caitlyn goes down. Yeah, Huden does take a hit. And despite the fact that we are talking about Philip potentially being out of contention, I do want to call out the fact that we had this Setsuko and Kiyun study group alongside Malala and Philip, and it's cool to see the battle of those study groups coming out with Malala and Philip both on top. So could see the study group holding hands 1-2 in the final game of the day. And even if Philip does not advance into the day 4 of competition, it's a nice way to go out.
One more life potentially for Kiyun. Philip in a fantastic spot. I believe took out not only Kiyun's ghost, but also Malala in that last round. And it just keeps getting stronger and stronger with this board. Alawi 2 online. Lucian 2 with the red buff to spread that last stand on everything. Like this is a disgusting board. You can still cap around legendaries. You don't need to play reroll or 4 cost. You can just have those 5 cost units and they are here to stay. Good LDP value here as well, going up against Kiyun. The Ghost took out Kiyun last round, so I would assume the real board is taking him out here again, too.
Yeah, the Jin is currently on that Riven. The Riven goes in the back line.
Ooh,
actually,
wait a minute.
Oh, no, almost
she's
did
gone.
it. But now the front line of Kiyun's still standing. It falls, and now that Jin's going to one-shot everything on the front line. Honestly, not a bad fight for Kiyun. He does stay alive, and it kind of looked like there's a world where maybe some positioning stuff can happen where Kiyun can win that fight against Philip.
Wait.
Wait.
Hold up. Wait a second. That's one away from a Sona 3, Gangly. We're selling the board, perhaps. Wait, do we sell more?
Not yet. You wait. Unless he's got a scout. He's got a scout to see. No, please don't let anyone hold. Philip, don't do it, Philip.
I don't know if Philip had any on the bench. I don't think we saw any on the bench the last time we were there. It's gonna be Malala versus Kiyun, but Malala is going to be pretty safe in terms of not dying in this round, even if he does take the L. Oh, Gangly, we could be seeing history here.
Oh, I really hope we get to see it. It is so close, but all Philip needs to do, or Kiyun, is just hold one Sona, and it will not be possible. But there is so much gold coming in from Malala, who drops down to 5 health. He's got one last chance. He's rolling down before anyone else can notice. Does not hit. Oh, he's rolling more. He's selling more.
Oh, can he hit it?
Oh,
Malala,
no.
please.
No.
Okay.
All
Still
right,
one
it's
more
okay,
round.
it's
Or he
okay.
could get a duplicator, right? He could get a duplicator.
Yes, that's what it is. There we go. Duplicator incoming, I believe.
Please, let's see it. Malala, the Vegas Open champion, trying to get another first place in a style here with a 3-star legendary. Still don't know if Philip or Kuhn are holding any of the Sonas. Looks like no duplicator, but the gold.
Here we go. Last chance.
Rolling it down. Couple more rolls.
No.
Sell
Just sell.
board.
Yep.
Let's
Oh,
go. And we hit
he
it.
hit. He did it. He did it.
Malala hits the soda 3 from selling half of his board.
The
Yes!
champion of the Vegas Open shows how it's done. The super fan item online. I don't even know what 3-star Sona does. Do you?
Not, I mean,
I have
assume
no
it kills
clue.
the board.
I think she cycles through everything. So the question is, wait
a
like,
minute,
is there
what
any
is
world
that
where the front line dies too fast? Oh no, here we go. The cast comes in, the heal, the shield, the attack
The
speed, and then
damage.
the damage.
Boom. The
And
board's
just
gone.
like that, Philip is dead, and Kiyun wins against somebody's ghost.
That shield was infinite HP.
Oh my goodness.
The attack speed and the damage just one-tapped everything. Philip losing in 3rd place there feels like he was robbed, honestly. Which, if you hit a tier 3 legendary, yeah, that's kind of some highway robbery. We don't even have 10 units on the board, but we don't need it. Malala and his victory march up against Kiyun, there's not much more that he can do as we witness this Sona carry Malala all the way to 1st place and cement his title as one of the best TFT players in NA.
Malala definitely having quite the show in set 10. It's got to feel pretty good. He does need to win this fight first. It should be over just like that. Yeah, the Sona gonna deal enough damage. Everything is dead. It all comes up for Malala, who hits the 3-star Sona, finds himself the win to make a victory lap on game number 6, day 3 of the KDA Cup. Listen, we had a few different players playing for stakes. Lucan able to secure that 6th place finish, but our other players, XB Mott and Trick P, who were playing for that top 2, unfortunately came up just a bit short. Although you got to feel like in that lobby, a 4th and a 5th actually feels pretty good, right?
I know, it is absolutely crazy how that game went down. What a treat to have that be the last game of the day, Gangly.
Oh my goodness, yeah, what an honor it was, Crone, to be with you on the day. A perfect game to go out. That's going to do it for us, but don't go anywhere because we're going to be back with the analyst desk to wrap up the day. KDA Cup day number 3. We'll see you in a minute.
What an exciting day of action for our third day of the TFT KDA Cup. And we're going to be closing out the day with Azael and Casanova to break down their final game and celebrate who is moving forward to play in tomorrow, the final day. Azael, that sixth game, I feel like it delivered on so many fronts when it came down to, especially that top
Yeah.
four.
I mean, it was absolutely crazy, right? You know, the fact that we actually saw a Sona 3, it is so rare anytime to actually hit those 3-star 5 costs, but especially in this set with the smaller bag sizes, there's only 9. He found every single one. And it was looking like, Malala for a while was going to have a Mr. 100 game, perfect game. But then Philip gets level 10 first, gets that roll down faster, has the last stand, hit most of the legendaries that you want to hit, and then all of a sudden I thought he was going to win for sure, because I just didn't think Malala would be able to anywhere come even close to capping out the board in the same way. But was one Sona off for a while, no one else could find that Sona to deny it from him, and just sells off a lot of the board, rolls it down, hits the Sona 3, finds the win out.
And the way that Philip got there was so incredibly impressive to me, right? Philip's been kind of an up-and-coming star in North America for a little while now, and it is upsetting that he's very likely not going to advance, and I think he might even be mathematically limited. He's not going to advance to the next day. But Philip in this game started out playing towards a country line, and we saw him re-rolling for that Katarina. He ends up hitting the 3-star Katarina at the same time as another board hits 3-star Samira with a better country angle. So Philip, we saw a big reaction on his camera. He realizes, okay, I can't play this line. I have to pivot out, but I have a 3-star Katarina with items. So what do I do? He ends up keeping 2 Crowd Diver in to just make sure that he's still getting value out of this 3-star. And he pivots into a KDA line to just try and preserve HP. And he does so really well. He was one of the top 2 HP right under Malala for the entire game. And he even, as you said, beat Malala to level 10 by using that last stand to just kind of econ out for as many rounds as possible. And then from there, his roll down was so snappy. And yes, it was fortunate. He hit all the legendary upgrades as fast as, you even think it could happen. But he was very snappy on those rolls. He got everything in. He made a board. He got the items out. He kept the Katarina in for one round to see how it did. It didn't perform well, so he just sold it, and then he went on with his day, kept building that board. And honestly, Philip would have won this game if it wasn't for that Sona.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought he was going to win for sure. It'll be really interesting to see the final standings and see if that Sona 3 was the difference, right? Because if he missed out by 2 points, if he missed out by 2 points, like this would have been a first place if it wasn't for the Sona 3 for sure, right? I don't think any other board could touch his. It really did take that 3-star legendary. So I want to see those final standings, but a really exciting final game. And we've had a lot of really crazy ones. We got some really cool portals. We saw some really interesting lines that people were playing, very creative stuff throughout the day, which I always think is so interesting. You talk so much about it, Cass, being able to find this different line. I think that is one of the most difficult things to do in TFT. It's really not that hard to play a high roll game, right? Where you go into it, you're like, I want to play this. And then all those units show up in your shop, you hit all the right items, you hit all the right augments, and you play that style. I think the most difficult lines to play are the ones where you have to make these pivots. You don't hit what you want. You don't have the right items. Someone else is contesting you, and you're still able to kind of claw and scrape your way to a top finish. I always just find that so impressive, and I think Philip did really play a cool game. Malala also obviously deserving of credit. It's the Vegas champion for a reason. Was 100 HP for so long. Was able to preserve that streak, rolling just enough, leveling just enough, playing the right units, playing the right comps to stay healthy throughout the game and give himself an opportunity to have an out like that Sona 3, right? Because if he didn't have such a good position earlier, he wouldn't have been able to actually have the gold to look for something like that, let alone hit it.
Yeah, I mean, we were even looking at the end of the board, and even at the beginning of the day, honestly, I went, it would be crazy if we saw like a 3-star legendary. What if, like
no,
that doesn't happen.
Stupid
The bad
stars, stupid
No.
stars. TFT is great for that reason, right? Where we get a chance to see some of those more unique board states, just these incredible, like, high-capped boards. And when you think back on the rest of what this 14.1 has really shaped up to be for this first day of competition, I feel like we got a great snapshot of what that looks like. How do those streak changes in your eyes affect the gameplay that we saw today, whether it's portal choices or maybe those lines you were trying to go towards for your composition?
Yeah, I mean, we saw Econ Augments definitely looking a lot better. And then I also think just in general, the players who were getting those good, strong early starts and capitalizing to keep the win streak, because you
Mm,
can't be lazy about it. There are too many players that are going to try and contest your win streak, and multiple people will have reasonable starts to go for it. So if you have a start that says, I can play a win streak, you have to capitalize. You have to be scouting. You have to make sure you're positioning well. And we see that happen. Malala, of course, in this game, showcased that beautifully with that 100 HP throughout the entire time.
yep, absolutely. And here are
Ooh.
those final standings. You see replay, almost near the very bottom here. Surprising to see him down there. That's the biggest name kind of standing out to me. Rain as well, finishing in 52nd place. So not having the day that she would want to have. It just shows you how competitive it is. And if you're not having your best day, if you have a little bit of bad luck, if you're not playing your best TFT, it can happen to anyone. I mean, Dish Soap finishing in 41st. Again, one of those people, Precedent down in 38th, DKA down in 39th. There's some people that people were predicting could actually just win.
And
Yeah,
look
and I
where
mean,
the points is too, Cass. Like the threshold here, we're looking at like Casper might have just missed a tiebreaker for 27.
I bet it's a tiebreaker at 27. I don't think he's the sole 27 in this lobby. And there it is. There's the tiebreakers. Biri from the lab in their very first day 3, their very first second weekend, making it to that top 32. Peckle, I believe, is another one of those players that's their first time. And so that's really impressive. Lab stays winning. 4 lab members making it in that
Mhm.
top 32 already. And we're not even to the final page. So love to see that for the lab.
Yeah, some big streamers as well making it through. So you saw Soju and Robin Songs
Oh, wow.
making through that top 32. Ripple 45 points, averaging like
Smashed it.
a one, basically a one, like a 1.5, I think, just about throughout the day, which is just absurd. Kuhn finishing in second place, Solus in third, so some big names up towards the top. Some really impressive performances as well from Upset Max, Yuhao. We've seen so many good games across the board here from these players. Malala seventh, Pokkigom finishing in eighth. So some of these players up there getting some of the bonus points, moving into that last day is going to put themselves in a really good spot to maybe be Arcadia Cup champion.
It's going to be those top 12 spots that'll be receiving those bonus points. So you get a point for being in 9th through 12th, and then you get 2 points for being in that 6th through 5th through 8th, and then for 1st through 4th, you get 3 bonus points. And so that very much could be the difference maker, where we take a look forward to our day number 4,
Hello?
but we have to celebrate the player above the rest, Ripple Overdrive. Welcome to the broadcast. Congratulations. What a phenomenal day. What is your secret? How did you get it done? What do you understand about 14.1 that you can share with the rest of us?
Oh, I mean, I think today I played a different comp every game. I think I've been studying a lot with my group on playing all the different like good comps this meta, which are like the reroll comps, Disco, Pentakill, stuff like that. And I think I was just in like good spots for them in all my games, and I wasn't like that contested, so I was able to kind of just execute on all of them in each game. So yeah.
I mean, it's an incredible performance. You averaged what, like a 1.5 or something like that in a tournament against the best players in the region. How much confidence does that give you going into tomorrow? Are you feeling like, hey, I could win the whole thing?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I have like the day 3 curse now, so I don't know if I can win tomorrow. But definitely gives me some confidence that I can like play the spots. I don't know if I'm gonna get into those spots again because I feel like my openers were pretty good. So I think right now in this meta, like stage 2 is really big. Like you can end up being really broke if you don't get the right opener, and it can be really hard to play. So I guess I'll hope things go well again tomorrow.
All right, Ripple, you said that you had some really good spots. You played 6 different comps throughout the day, and you said you were relatively uncontested. Do you feel like you just have a better understanding, and your study group in general have a better understanding of all the different comps that are pretty good right now than a lot of maybe the other players in the field, where you were able to still get into a spot that was uncontested while other players may have been forcing just a few compositions and getting stuck contesting each other because of that?
Yeah, I think we're imagining today like a lot of players might have either come in saying like I'm mostly just gonna try to play reroll or I'm mostly gonna try to play like tempo level 8. Um and like I think my side group was pretty torn between the two. Like a lot of us like, not trying to play reroll because it's really easy to go 8th if you miss. Um but I think we mostly concluded like you kinda have to study every comp and then like whichever spot you're in, you can do well as long as you play it really well. And then, so I was definitely scouting a lot to see like what everyone else is playing to know that I can play each thing. And yeah.
Do you have any advice then for, how you're actually keeping these multiple lines open? You're talking about scouting a lot, playing different comps. What is your kind of key as far as like if you're still trying to play Sage 2 well, get wins, keep your gold up, keep your health up, you're having to slam items, right? So how are you actually deciding what line to play while not overcommitting to something that could end up being heavily contested?
Yeah, I mean there are lots of items that overlap all the comps. Like, I mean, if you make like an Evan Child or like an IE, like you're probably playing towards River Yone, but like say for you can slam a lot of utility items early. I think that's what my group kind of talked about, like making Morellos or Shiv or Spark or something that will still keep you open to like Disco, Pentakill, maybe even Ari. And also like I mean there are some games that I wasn't even slamming early. Like it didn't make too much of a difference. I think it's really important to like not over slam or like over level early if it's not gonna make too much of a difference because you really need to make those like econ breakpoints more because you don't get much street gold anymore. But yeah, like once you make something, you're gonna be committed. You're gonna like cut off some lines, but I think it's okay. There's usually enough things in both like the AD and the AP tree.
All right, Ripple, I wanted to ask quickly because, I was looking at your study group and it seems like you did by far the best. There were some struggles from replay, some struggles from T-Lides, and it feels like,
Oh, 07.
your study group had the best read, but maybe do you feel that